the ultimate test, loss of life and health. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues in the same verse, saying He will also test us with loss of life. This means that those whom we love will be taken away before us. It is inevitable. Every single soul shall taste death. Allah will take away parents, children, spouses, siblings, and close friends, and He does so as a test for those who remain. The real question is, how do we respond? Do we complain and question the decree of Allah, or do we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, indeed, we belong to Allah, and indeed to Him we shall return. This is Sabr. Not only will Allah test us by taking away others, but He will also test us with our own health. There will be days when we feel energetic and strong, and there will be days when we are weak and frail. Some will suffer from chronic illnesses, others will face sudden health issues. All of this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The believers accept their condition with patience, knowing that even an illness is an expiation for sins. The Prophet Muhammad said, "No fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that." Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. Glad tidings for those who have sabr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not leave us in difficulty without rewarding us. He gives glad tidings to those who endure hardship with patience and faith. In the same verse from Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says, "And give glad tidings to those who patiently endure, those who, when afflicted with calamity, say, Indeed, we belong to Allah, and indeed to Him we shall return. It is they upon whom are blessings from their Lord and mercy, and it is they who are the rightly guided." Surah Al-Baqarah 2-155-157. Imagine this, Allah Himself is sending peace and blessings upon the patient believers. He is granting them His mercy and guiding them to the straight path. What greater reward could there be than this? Prophet Muhammad, as the best example of sabr. If we want to understand the true meaning of sabr, we only need to look at the life of Prophet Muhammad. No one in history faced more trials than him, yet no one was more patient. He lost his parents before he could even remember them. He lost his grandfather and uncle who raised him. He lost his beloved wife Khadijah, who was his pillar of support. He lost 6 out of 7 of his children during his lifetime. He was mocked, ridiculed, and physically harmed by his own people. He was boycotted and starved for 3 years in Mecca. He was forced to leave his home, and even after migration, he was engaged in battle after battle with those who sought to destroy Islam. Yet never once did he complain. Never once did he question the decree of Allah. Instead, he showed us what true sabr looks like. Even at Taif, when he was stoned until his blessed feet bled, he simply raised his hands and made dua, saying, "O Allah, if you are not displeased with me, then I do not mind." Subhanallah. The 3 types of sabr expanded. As mentioned earlier, sabr is not just about enduring calamities. It is divided into 3 broad categories, and all 3 are essential for every believer: sabr and obedience to Allah. Performing salah regularly requires sabr. Waking up for fajr when the bed is warm and comfortable requires sabr. Fasting during Ramadan, especially in the summer months, requires sabr. Giving zakat and performing hajj requires sabr. Learning and gaining Islamic knowledge requires sabr. Sabr in avoiding sin, staying away from haram desires requires sabr. Resisting the temptation to backbite, lie, or cheat requires sabr. Controlling our anger and guarding our tongue requires sabr. Lowering our gaze and maintaining modesty requires sabr. Sabr in accepting the decree of Allah. When calamity strikes, we need sabr. When we lose a loved one, we need sabr. When we face financial hardship, we need sabr. When we are tested with health problems, we need sabr. The highest level of sabring pleased with Allah's decree. There is a difference between simply being patient and being truly pleased with the decree of Allah. The highest level of sabr is when a believer does not just tolerate a test, but actually welcomes it as an opportunity to get closer to Allah. This is why the Prophet Muhammad said, "Indeed, the greatest reward comes with the greatest trial." And indeed, when Allah loves a people, He puts them to trial. Whoever is content, for him is contentment, and whoever is displeased, for him is displeasure. Sunan at-Tirmidhi. Subhanallah. If we love Allah, we must trust Him. If we trust Him, we must be pleased with His decisions. If we are pleased with His decisions, we will find peace in our hearts, no matter what happens in life. Final advice. Strengthen your Sabr. So how do we develop Sabr in our daily lives? Increase your Taqwa. The more conscious you are of Allah, the more patient you will become. When you know that every test is from Him, it becomes easier to bear. Make dua for patience. Even the prophets made dua for Sabr. Prophet Musa said, "My Lord, expand for me my breast with assurance and ease for me my task." Surah Taha 20:25-26. Read and reflect on the Qur'an. The stories of the prophets and their patience will inspire you. Remember the reward of Sabr. Every difficulty you endure with patience raises your rank in Jannah. Stay in good company. Being around patient, righteous believers will encourage you to have Sabr in your own life. Practice gratitude. The more grateful you are, the more patient you become. A grateful person sees every test as a blessing in disguise. Conclusion. Subhanallah. The concept of Sabr is vast, deep, and beautiful. It is more than just patience. It is endurance, perseverance, self-restraint, and complete trust in Allah's plan. The one who masters Sabr masters life itself. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all Sabr in our worship, Sabr in avoiding sin, and Sabr in accepting His divine decree. May He make us among those who are patient in times of hardship and grateful in times of ease. And may He reward us with Jannatul Firdaus for every moment of Sabr we endure in this temporary world. Ameen. Patience alongside piety, not patience with sin. Patience, when coupled with righteousness, is among the most esteemed qualities a believer can possess. It is not just about enduring difficulties, but about doing so with steadfast faith, without compromising on piety. Patience should never be confused with tolerating sin. Rather, it should always be accompanied by righteousness. Allah Almighty, the Most High, states in the Qur'an that had the believers hastened to seek His help, He would have sent down 5,000 of the most elite angels to support them at that moment. Allahu Akbar. May Allah bestow His divine protection upon us in the same way. May He make us among those who possess patience alongside good deeds, rather than those who claim patience yet persist in sinful actions, for such people are misguided. May Allah safeguard us from such errors. The reality of tests and trials. Allah informs us that trials and tests are an inevitable part of life. He reminds us that when goodness comes our way, our enemies become upset, and when calamities befall us, they rejoice. But Allah gives us a powerful assurance: if we maintain patience and uphold our consciousness of Him, it will be far better for us in both this world and the next. Listen to what Allah declares in Surah Al-Imran. If good befalls you, it grieves them, but if evil afflicts you, they rejoice at it. But if you remain patient and conscious of Allah, their schemes will not harm you in the least. Indeed, Allah encompasses what they do. Surah Al-Imran 3-120. This is a profound lesson for us. When a person has an enemy, their adversary is disturbed by their success and delighted by their suffering. Such is the nature of those whose hearts are devoid of faith. But Allah assures us that if we adhere to patience and taqwa, the schemes and plots of such evildoers will be of no consequence. May Allah protect us from the malice of others. To withstand the plots of oppressors, one requires patience. This is why Allah tells us in the Qur'an that we will certainly be tested in various ways. The trials of the believers. Throughout history, those who followed the truth faced mockery and hostility. The disbelievers and the people of the book, those who were given revelation before us, mocked and ridiculed the believers. They sought to make their lives difficult, attempting to shake their faith. But Allah provides guidance for such situations. In Surah Al-Imran, He states, "You will certainly be tested in your wealth and your lives. And you will surely hear much abuse from those who were given the book before you and from those who associate others with Allah. But if you remain patient and fear Allah, then that is indeed a matter of firm resolve. Surah Al-Imran 3-186. This verse is a direct message to us, urging us to be steadfast in the face of hardships. Whether we endure financial difficulties, personal struggles, or emotional distress, these are all trials from Allah. They serve as opportunities to elevate our ranks in His sight. The reward for patience is immense. Patience is not just a virtue, it is a means of securing Allah's closeness. The voice you selected does not support this language. Please click the upper right corner to switch to another voice. Indeed, Allah is with those who are patient. Surah Al-Nafal 846. What greater honor can there be than Allah's divine companionship? To be patient is to be under His direct protection and guidance. Allah further reassures us in Surah Hud, and be patient, for indeed Allah does not waste the reward of those who do good. Surah 11-115. This verse is a reminder that patience is not merely about enduring hardship, it is an act of goodness, one that Allah never allows to go unrewarded. The voice you selected does not support this language. Please click the upper right corner to switch to another voice. His life was a series of relentless trials. He was thrown into a well, sold as a slave, falsely accused, and imprisoned. Yet through every hardship, he remained patient and steadfast. Eventually Allah turned his trials into triumphs. He was not only freed but elevated to a position of power. His family was reunited and he was honored in both this world and the hereafter. Some narrations suggest that nearly 40 years passed before he witnessed the fruits of his patience. Compare this to our situation today. How quickly do we lose hope? The moment we face 3 difficulties in a row, we start assuming someone has done black magic against us. The voice you selected does not support this language. Please click the upper right corner to switch to another voice. This mindset is a weakness of faith. If Allah tested the best of His creation with the most severe trials, who are we to expect an easy life? May Allah strengthen us and grant us the endurance to remain steadfast in our tests. The patience of Banu Isra'il. A prime example of patience in history is the perseverance of Banu Isra'il under the oppression of Pharaoh. Pharaoh subjected them to unimaginable cruelty, killing their sons, enslaving their people, and oppressing them for years. Yet they endured with patience. What was their reward? Allah granted them dominion over vast lands from the east to the west after Pharaoh's destruction, as mentioned in Surah Al-Araf. And we caused the people who had been oppressed to inherit the eastern and western parts of the land which we had blessed. And the good word of your Lord was fulfilled for the children of Israel because of their patience. Surah Al-Araf 7-137. This is a lesson for us when faced with injustice and oppression. Patience and faith in Allah will always lead to victory. The ultimate victory of the patient ones. On the day of judgment, Allah will call out to the patient ones and honor them in front of all creation. He will declare, "Indeed, I have rewarded them this day for their patience. They are indeed the successful ones." Surah Al-Mu'minun 23-111. Imagine being among those whom Allah Himself praises. May we be among them. For anyone facing personal struggles, whether health issues, financial losses, family problems, or any other hardship, know that every moment of patience is an elevation of your status. If you are battling an illness, if you have lost a loved one, if you have suffered any form of injustice, hold firm and remain patient. This world is a temporary test, and its difficulties are merely stepping stones towards eternal success. Instead of questioning Allah, embrace His decree, knowing that He never wrongs His servants. Let us strive to study the Qur'an and apply its lessons, just as we would study for an important exam. Our true examination is this life, and our ultimate success lies in earning Jannah. May Allah grant us the strength to endure every test with patience and unwavering faith. Ameen.